All right, guys, so we're in the cabin right now, and there's something I wanted to change about the cabin. I was thinking of upgrading the cluster altogether, but I decided to keep it because I do like the original cluster itself, but I do want to change the skin, like the gauges and stuff like that. Definitely want to update that. So that's the first project, and then this other one, which is going to be a little bit easier, would be the button, which is the M button right here. Just something to match with the start button over this side. Definitely wanted to change that as well, and I think this will come out pretty cool. But anyways, guys, let's get down to it. So to access this button, you have to remove the airbag, and then you pretty much remove this little trim right here, and so you can actually have access to these whole buttons. And before we do that, we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the battery. So I went ahead and disconnected the battery, took the negative off. I wrapped it up, just make sure it doesn't make any contact or anything like that. So now we're good. So we could go ahead and start taking the steering wheel apart. All right, guys, so I want to stop midway because I want to get this in detail. So right now, I already loosened the bolts. These are T20 Torx. So it takes T20 Torx to loosen the trim. So they're all loosened up right now. But, you know, the airbag is still in the way. So there's a way to remove it, and but you're gonna need either a screwdriver to access it. It's right here. So granted, I already pierced the hole, but there's gonna be like a soft spot right here. So if you have never replaced this airbag or removed it before, you're not gonna see it. It's just gonna be pretty much plain. So it's pretty soft right here. So once you get in there, there's gonna be a spring. You kind of like push it, and while you're pushing it, you just kind of like gently press against the airbag and then pull. So push and pull. All right, guys, so just to try to explain it a little better to you guys, so when it comes to removing the airbag, you go through where the hole is I mentioned, goes in, you can see where this hole goes in, and then you just press against the clip, and it moves it. It moves it pretty much back and forth. So when you push forward, it remove it all together. So that's why I say you kind of have to press down a little bit, because sometimes when you press against it, it's still like wedged against the hook. So when you push down a little bit, it's able to slide easy, and then once you release it, it pops right up. Same thing the other side. So just be careful, be patient, you'll get it. So I got the whole thing out. So we're definitely just working on removing this button. So we're working on this side. I don't know if you noticed, but the bolts for the Torx to hold this whole thing together, it's still there. Don't try to take it out. I noticed that it won't come out, so they probably had it designed that way, which is good. You don't have to lose any parts. It's always there. So we got that taken care of. We're gonna go ahead and remove the cluster now. So the next step for the cluster itself, to remove it, there are some Torx as well, but it's not the same. These are not 15s. These are actually 9s. They're super small. So we're gonna go ahead and remove them. There's one over here, and there's one right there. All right, so we got the cluster out. After you get the screws, you just pull it forward. There's some hooks on the bottom here, so once you pull it forward, you just lift up, and it'll come right out. And then the last thing you got to do is disconnect this connector right here. And to do that, you have to press on this right here. Press it and then pull this. So it looks like this, and then you press down on that little clip and then pull this all the way back here. And when he does that, it pushes it out, and then voila, you got your cluster. So to remove this, there's gonna be a couple clips. Gonna be one right here. There's gonna be one in this end right here. There's gonna be one right here in this corner, and there's two, one here. So once you pry those out, the whole back of this will come right out, and then you can go ahead and replace the cover. So got it out. Like I said, there's clips here, one up there, one down here, and then the last two right here. And once you pry it out, you have the back of the controls right here. You just move that over, and then you can see where the button covers should be, and we're going to pick up the one at the front. So this is the old one right here, and this is the new one. So if I had to compare, they're exactly the same shape. So put it back in, should be pretty easy. It's kind of hard with one hand. It floats in right like that. And now we can put everything back together. Put everything back together. And as you can see, button works. And now we have the new button cover. So it's pretty cool. I went ahead and removed the tape or whatever the wrap. It was pretty worn and dirty, so I went ahead and replaced that. So I'm thinking of putting a new wrap on it. I was thinking of replacing the whole thing, but I decided to keep it. Gonna wrap it. I'm not sure yet, but I think I have an idea what I want to wrap. But when it comes to the button and the trim, for the most part, pretty much done. Currently at work right now, so this is the best time I could do it. I just have some little free time, so I'm knocking it out right now. So we're working on the cluster, and we're going to actually replace the sticker, the skin, replacing that. And the first thing you got to do, I already did it, but I'm just going to show it to you guys, is that you have to remove 4 Torx. These little Torx right here. There's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're gonna need a T10. So you're gonna need a T10 to get that off, and then after you got the Torx out, there are like clips all around. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clips. So once you get that off, then voila, the cluster, the face, is now exposed. Now to remove these, you got to to take the skin off of these stuff, you have to remove these, like, I guess, gauge hands or whatever. So you want to remove both of these and stuff like that. But here's the thing, when you remove them, you have to be very careful, because you're trying to put them back exactly where they need to be. Main reason why, because this thing is like very fidgety and sensitive. So when you put it on and it might get a bad reading, that might be an issue. So my best bet is that take a picture and to make sure it's as close as it was, and then once you put the new face on and you put these back together, then you gotta do the ultimate test. You gotta connect it, turn the key on, and make sure that it's actually working properly. So this is a new skin. You can see the difference. Obviously I prefer to have a white with the N54 on it. Say we apply it right here, try to make it as even as possible, and that's how it pretty much will look. So this is how it looks. Like I said, in comparison to the old, this is how it looks. So I am very happy with the results thus far, but the real test is me to plug it in and make sure that these gauges are as accurate as they should be. So that I have to do later during the day when I get home. But other than that, man, I am happy how this turns out. This is a new setup now with the cluster skin right here, and obviously with a little button. I went ahead and wrapped this steering wheel trim just to give it a different look, and I decided to keep it the same design, use the same wrap what I did for the rest of the car, the rest of the trim around the car. So so far I like it. You have the button right here, the M button. Again, this is just mostly cosmetic, but it does look good and it matches well with the red start button over here. But overall, guys, as you can see, everything in comparison, it looks great. It looks better. It looks different. And I'm happy with this so far. So with this, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And all the stuff that I've done, the wrap, the cluster skin, and there's a little button right here. I'll leave everything down the description. So if you're interested in getting something like that. And thank you so much again. Peace.